Right, hello viewers and welcome to Combat Mission Red Thunder. I'm your host PPChoo, and today we're just going to be checking out fairly, I suppose a medium-sized quick battle map. This will be an attack. We'll be playing as the Soviet Union, and I'll just get the first turn going here. And our opponents will be a AI German player defending. So, recently I just don't have enough time to just do one of the little cinematic ARs, so I figured we might as well just sort of play around with this, check out the new Soviet Unions and how they really function on the Eastern Front here, and really just get a good feel of the game. And later on, when I have some time, I think I'll, revisit the game and do some other work on it. So anyhow, I have bought ourselves a massive amount of Soviet Union. It's here. I'm rather used to playing the German faction inside the game, and the German faction, I mean, their equipment doesn't really change from front to front, unlike the inclusion of these guys. So the Soviets feature just large swaths of infantry. I have some regular infantry platoons armed with like Maxims, snipers, and really just the general stuff that they come with. Such as like Papasas and Mosinagans and SVT-40s and stuff like that. But the Soviets actually have a specialty group of troops that are actually just a company of guys armed with little SMGs, and these can be the PPSHs or one of the I like to call these like the little cheapo Papasas, and they're just really another little sort of SMG called a PPS-43. And in addition to that, I also have a pack of tanks. Nice little 5-pack of T-34s to use, and it looks like we've already made contact on the front. So our objective is to really just take this yellow village zone, and what I've given the German player here is a set of AT guns, some straggler infantry, and some regular infantry. So this will be rather interesting to see how they play out. And evidently, it looks like we have already met the Germans over here, and we're starting to see a few of them. I'll actually disable the trees, so then we can get a better look at where they are. And evidently, they have a few guys hiding out inside the woods over there. So let's get our troops and let's move them into a few firing positions to sort of counter these guys and to really just sort of develop this battle forwards. Anyhow, one of the unique things about the Soviets is that they actually have these huge squads, and they actually feature these little HQ squads, which are, instead of just like a little 4-man, 5-man HQ team, they're actually a fully fledged combat unit, something that we haven't seen before in the combat mission line of games. And right now, I'm noticing some troops here, so I want to use these trees as a bit of a covered line of advance, and I want to get these Maxims out. And these are the Russian little machine guns. They're actually supposed to have, they have one variant, and you'll see them in Company of Heroes 2, where it's sort of this little shopping cart trolley thing that they have them on, but for whatever reason inside this game they carry them, and we'll send them up. And right now, my general plan for this battle is to use a whole bunch of these Maxims I have here to set a little bases of fire inside this little horseshoe of forests, so that our infantry can just sort of crawl upon the sides to really move forward and such. So let's get our guys moving, and I'm also going to try to make a little play on the flanks right here with these SMG armed guys. I figured they might as well just be able to sort of sneak into the houses over here and really just get into them, lock them down, and hopefully do some damage like such. So anyhow, again, really want to develop this situation, so I'll send in some of my infantry just to go over here. I'll get the sniper team to bounce forward and move forward through that set of trees, but I think everything else will just leave as is. Now, playing as the Soviet troops is slightly like playing the Italians inside Fortress Italy, in that you have a whole bunch of people running about. However, they're not exactly the most efficient type of people, and evidently the loss rates inside this game have been toned up for the Eastern Front, which is appropriate. So you'll see a lot of troops being just sort of mowed down and killed off as the game sort of goes on. Something that inside the previous games is a little bit toned down compared to the Eastern Front variant here. So I mean, the battle is in full fledged. We have our infantry moving up, and they're starting to take a few positions from in which they can sort of pick off a few of their troops, and evidently I believe they're also suffering a few casualties here and now. See some damage. I saw some damage markers come up, but evidently it looks like we've already found a lot of their troops just already, so this is very, very interesting. And oh, it looks like we found an AT gun in the back area over there, so again, another little thing. Alright, well, it looks like we took some casualties during that little engagement right there, and the nice thing about one of the new UI additions is that it'll actually mark the casualties on the map rather than just taking the little troops outside of the squads. It's kind of helpful, seeing as how you do manage a lot more people inside this game than the previous ones. So again, I want this MG to set up, so I think I'll just let it crawl forwards and let it try to get a better position over there. Over here, I did see that MG or that pack gun in the rear over there, so I'm a little worried about that. Again, I have this pack of tanks and I just have a massive amount of units, so it's no big problem if we actually take casualties inside this match, just simply due to the fact that we have so much to spare. What I think I'll do here is that I'll get the little MGs I have here, some more of these Maxims to set up. Evidently this one can fire, or maybe it can, maybe it can't. In that case, I think I'll get it to move up through these forests and really get to locations where they can just sort of open up on the Axis troops over there, and we'll let them do that. In the meantime, let's see what we can do to move our troops about. So, how I have my troops set up here is that, I mean, the Russians, they seem to require a ton of troops for practically all of their actions, and you do have the option to split up these groups of troops into smaller bits, but I find that it's actually more effective just to keep them inside the super large squads that they usually come in. And inside the previous games, I mean, it was always better to sort of split up your squads if you were given the opportunity, but inside this, I feel like the Russians have a really strong penalty to actually splitting your troops up. So I'll get our tanks to move forwards here. I have a company of infantry right here, and unfortunately they don't seem to have a command link to 3rd Battalion, so they're not going to get information about the battle over here just yet. The machine gun teams probably can relay information because they're fairly close by and they can just sort of communicate by voice. In the meantime, what I think I'll do is that I'll get this platoon of infantry to move up over here, and these guys, I had originally wanted these guys to move forwards, so get these guys to space out. They also have a single Maxim, and I'll just get them to move into this general area. I'll keep the infantry back for now, and I'll try to use the sniper teams to scout forwards. Yeah, the Russians seem to really like those sniper teams, and they have a ton of them, so we'll try to send them up and we'll try to use them as scouts. Likewise, over here, I'll actually get this squad to bounce using the assault command through the woods here to try to figure out what is going on inside this right flank side of the village. So the battle continues. I'm going to disable the trees like that, so then we can take a better look at the infantry inside these woods. And evidently, I mean, they seem to be duking it out with the infantry just sort of dispersed inside these locations. I recall giving the AI some foxholes, so maybe we'll see them pop out using, or maybe we'll see these infantry men actually have foxholes, seeing as how we don't have perfect line of sight on them just yet. Looks like we have one MG where something's set up. Evidently, a lot of my guys over here are pinned because they have a lot of troops there. Yeah, they seem to have quite a few men there. And it looks like my MGs are taking note of the fire and they're not moving forwards with the hunt command, so we'll have to ship them up forwards individually in a little bit. Ooh. Tank round just hit a cluster of my guys, or something hit a cluster of my guys. That is not very good, and I suspect that it's that anti-tank gun over there. I think I'll get my tanks to actually lay down a barrage if they can over there, and see whether or not they can just sort of shell that location. I think I'll actually get these tanks into the fray, and I'll start to move them towards the edges of the forest here, so then they can hopefully provide a little bit of cover support. I'll get these maximum teams to crawl forward, seeing as how they won't hunt move forward, so I'll try to nab positions like that. And infantry dispersion is a problem with the Soviets. Their squads are a little big, but then again, I am clustering them up right now. So I think I'll work a little bit on that, and I'll get our squads to bounce up through the sides here. So give them a 30-second little delay here, and they'll just try to move their troops up along this avenue advance, and hopefully they'll be able to make a little bit of a push over there. And on this front, I think things are going decently well, so I'll let that flank continue to develop, and we'll just really see how this goes. Evidently, there's going to be a lot of action this turn, seeing as how the game had a slight slowdown just now in turn processing. So yeah, they have a few of these light little Pak 40s. Make no mistake though, they should be able to go through our tanks at this range, and I believe I ordered one of our tanks to actually shell this location. So hopefully one of our T-34s will be able to pin down this this gun, because the gun crews they have a tendency to bail, or they have a tendency to just sort of cower behind their guns when they're shelled, as it is reasonable. And we'll try to move up over here with some armored support. And hopefully this will just sort of unpin our guys in the center of our lines here with some good shelling from T-34s. Let's see how that is doing. That is just covering all of their troops, all of the ones that we can see at least. Our guys should be just dropping down copious amounts of shots. And let's see what else we can do here to help out our infantrymen that are crawling forwards. So I mean, these maximum teams are making slight progress in crawling forwards, so they're taking some damage along with them. Try to get some of our infantry inside the back here to support the tanks, and I'll try to get them to just sort of move around the tanks, mainly to provide them with provide them with communication, and to an extent line of sight by communicating with the tank crews about potential targets around their vehicles, or in front of their vehicles. Get those tanks to suppress, and I think I saw some infantry inside those bushes over there, so I'll issue... Yeah, there's an MG apparently over there, so I'll issue an order to fire off a few shots over there. I've got to say, the AI for these quick battle maps, they have improved, coming from the other games. Inside the other games, I mean, they really like to just sort of keep back and keep like all of their troops at the very rear edge of the map. They're making a great job, or they're doing a great job in actually defending the early portion of the zone here, so that is really rather nice. And I want to say that this area is cleared, so I think I'll want to get my sniper team to actually push really aggressively up over there. And what that'll actually allow me to do is that if this area is cleared, I can sneak all of these SMG armed dudes over there, and that'll just massacre everything there. Those little papasas, they have like, if they come with the drum mags, and some of them come with the drum mags, some of them come with the regular like stick ammunition holder, I suppose, the stick magazines. They only carry 30 rounds, but if they have the drum mags, it's like 91 rounds, and those would just absolutely destroy infantry. So I mean, things are currently going pretty well for Russian standards. I mean, we're taking a few losses, but then again, I think we're dealing a decent amount with our tanks and all. And we'll just really see whether or not we can just sort of continue to drive up the flanks here. I'm gonna assume that AT gun is actually probably dead now, just judging by the proximity of shelling close to it. But just to be safe, I think I'll pummel that a little bit more. The crews inside those little crude AT tank or AT anti-tank guns or vehicles, just sort of anything that's crewable in general, actually do have a tendency to bail out if you put enough fire on them. So hopefully that gun will be taken out, but I recall the enemy will have a few more, seeing as how I bought them a platoon of those things. Now, let's see whether or not we can help our infantrymen here clear forwards. These tanks aren't going to, where they don't seem to want to shoot at those infantrymen by themselves. We're going to have to give them some motivation. I'm going to grab another one of these tanks, give them a slow move order, and I'm going to bring them over here, so that when they come over here, Can issue a few more attack orders like that. And over here, I think I'll be able to clear target and give our guy a target arc to cover that that particular area. Or no, here's what I'll do. Just in case that AT gun comes back, I'll have this tank just cover that location. They're obviously not going to just move the AT gun under fire, so I'll do that, and I'll get these tanks to actually support the infantry over here on the center area as they press forward, and the Maxims over here should be deployed by now. No, maybe not. Alright, in that case, so I'll have to shift them forward a little bit more, and we'll just try to get our guys into the fight and into this area, really. These guys over here can crawl forward a little bit more. So are these guys. See what we can do here. Now, evidently, the sniper team has stopped, but it doesn't seem to detect that there are any troops back here. So I think I'll give them a brief run order, and I'll get them to pause up here just to sort of take a look around. And if I'm not mistaken, these squads of SMG troops should be bounding up here too, and I'll get their command squad to move forward as well. And we'll see what we can do. I also have a few sets of Russian mortars at my disposal too. I'm not a big fan of using artillery because it can just sort of demolish these little towns and stuff and such. Mainly because it's the Russian artillery ideology, and something like 50 artillery barrels per 50 meters, so 1 per meter of land, and it's the purpose of it is really just to mess up the terrain, I suppose. So we'll try to keep that in reserve, but I have a feeling we might have to use it soon, or before our assault here. So evidently, it looks like their units are pulling back now, and it looks like they have a command squad just over here for whatever reason. It's rather interesting. Maybe they have a platoon set up inside these buildings here, but I'll see whether or not we can just sort of get through their lines on that flank in a little bit. In the meantime, let's see how our tanks are just really managing over here. Let's get these tanks to actually put off a few more shots into that little forest right there, because I think I see quite a few infantrymen right there. That tank is still covering that zone, which is good. This one is going to make a sweep like that, and my troops are starting to regain their composure, their C2, and they're starting to get unpinned, so we should be able to move up, I would say soon, in the next little bit, I suppose, and these troops are already moving up. So, it looks like things are good. Just gonna do a quick check on C2, and sometimes you find that the Russian squads, they don't have particularly good communications with each other, and the communication is critical for maintaining information about the enemy, and obviously for your troops to not break. So I'm just wanted to check that real fast, but it looks good so far. I was under the impression that this blob of like orange troops would have been a little bit too much in terms of width for that one command squad to handle, but it looks like they're fine actually, so that is good. And yeah, it looks like we're starting to gain fire superiority inside here. We are starting to do quite a little bit of damage to the Germans, and evidently, I mean, their troops are more expensive than ours on a one-on-one basis, so we can take a few losses. And again, I really like how they actually mark down the losses now. Beforehand, you had to check on the map for the little dead people or the little injured people, and you'll see that our guys are actually administering first aid right now, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, it's a rather neat little feature there. Really helps, again, with the mass amounts of Russian casualties that you might face throughout this game. And it looks like our advance is doing pretty well now. Evidently, they are starting to retreat into the back portions of the town. So here's what we'll do: we'll issue another barrage of fires, and I see that there's some troops inside that hillish area on the side. So we'll get our tanks to fire on that again. I want to check on this AT gun. Oh, Yeah, sometimes the camera, they introduce some new camera features inside the game. Evidently, I don't have a really good grasp of them just yet. It looks like that AT gun is knocked out, so that should not be a threat anymore, meaning that I should be able to take this tank off AT